It's not just great joy but an honor to be here today, especially because I've been a cinephile for a very long time. I'm a music lover, and what a day to be today for a music lover and someone who loves cinema to be able to share Woodstock with you. Now, Avijit, who's a good friend and who's been curating these shows, asked me to kind of hold the session. I said, I can't hold the session, but I'm going to share some few things about Woodstock. It's been a defining film for me, not just as a graphic artist or a music lover or a cinema lover, but also as someone who's closely looking at the 60s and 70s as one of the most defining moments in the history of mankind, because it kind of shook the world in some sense. It came out with certain literature, certain music, certain films that invited all of us to be a part of the dialogue. So today we'll be watching this 184 film documentary. Now, to call it a documentary is with great respect, because imagine something like this not being documented. We wouldn't have known what happened at White Lake. We wouldn't have known what happened at Bethel, few miles away from New York, and how 3 days of love, peace, music, lot of mud, lot of acid, lot of sex changed the way the world looks at music. There have been a lot of things around this film that could be spoken about, but I think I'm just going to highlight few thoughts that hold very interestingly enlaced with the idea of Woodstock. Now, it was just a bunch of guys who wanted to make money, and they initiated the idea of Woodstock. The ads came out in New York Times and Wall Street Journal, like, whoever has lots of money and wants to make some more money, please join us. And that's how the first ad came, and it took them 9 months to put this whole act together. Max Yasgur, he was a milkman, if I can call him. They rented 6 acres of land, 600 acres, where his cows would go out to graze. So he gave away that piece of land, and that's where Woodstock took place. And they were expecting around 200,000 people, but there was no count of how many people started trickling in. And the tickets were cost for $18 and $24. And eventually, when they realized that the whole world is almost converging upon White Lake, they had to call it a free concert. And a free concert meant a whole lot of things. It meant that there was no count over how many people were coming in. And to add to it, there was the thunderstorm, and it gave people a lot of slush, a lot of mud to enjoy the music along with it. And if I can start talking about the musicians, there was Janis Joplin, there was The Who, there was a whole lot of people who probably gave the best performances, including Jimi Hendrix, who fused the national anthem of America along with Purple Haze and created his own magic with it. So I guess I can go on talking about it, but two more important things. That one guy who was editing this film after it was shot, he was Martin Scorsese, and Martin Scorsese went on to make defining documentaries on Rolling Stones' Shine a Light, and more recently on George Harrison, Living in a Material World. Now he's been one of the iconic filmmakers in America, and him being there at that point in the making of Woodstock means a lot. So, well, we can share a whole lot of things from here on. What we'll do is we will start with Mr. Sastry's film, and which is a social commentary by itself, and it initiates a dialogue, and then we'll move on to Woodstock. And if you still have the appetite for a discussion, we'll hold on after the screening and we'll share our thoughts. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great time. Thanks a lot.
you mean with the city?
Yeah.
And you got that sold?
Well, it looks that way.
Looks that way. How long did it take you to put it together? 2, 3 months?
Looking out for about 9 months.
9 months? Full time?
Yeah.
Now very slowly start coming back up. Lower the lock and pull yourself back up. And then keep breathing as fast as you can.
This film wins the best documentary for 1970. And also, I guess, the sound design, the best sound design. And Warner Brothers, which supported this film, probably was going bankrupt at around 69. And primarily the film and the music made profits for the concert. Otherwise, the concert was a loss-making proposition for these guys. So till date, they kind of owe it to the film and the music that followed for the success of Woodstock, if one can call it. And many more wonderful things. There were 2 kind of deliveries, successful one, 4 miscarriages, and 2 deaths. 1 out of heroin overdose, and 1 guy was sleeping in the hayfields and got kind of killed by a tractor who didn't know someone was sleeping there. So there was no violence. I mean, you probably must be imagining with so many people. There were a lot of dented people or whatever. Yeah, but there were no casualties, there was no violence, there were no kind of mishaps. They were all happy people with peace, love, and music. And wonderful to have shared this. Is there any comments that are vital to the film? I'd love to hear that, or we can call it tonight. And Abji can tell us what's next, and we can follow through. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks a lot.